we do know that it is now certain that the Majority Leader, Osagyie Mensah-Bonsu, will be presenting the budget for this particular year. The reasons much more known to us. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta currently receiving treatment of COVID-19 complications. But the Information Minister Kojo Nkrumah has revealed that taxes could be reviewed upwards to shore up the revenue lost to the pandemic. But just before we get in touch with him, here is a report.
Specific tax items that government has agreed to review, as well as the possible new ones it plans to introduce, remain unclear. But what Joy Business is learning is that government is looking at ways to finance the budget deficit, which has seen significant spikes as a result of the pandemic-related expenditure for last year. All these fiscal proposals that are on the table are aimed at fast-tracking the process that will get the country back to the fiscal consolidation process. But with the deployment of the vaccines, it's now clear that government is on the path to carefully manage the spread of COVID-19. The budget will therefore come up with some programs aimed at fast-tracking the recovery of the economy this year and going into 2022. Another option that the budget may be looking at, if the tax path is not agreed, could be borrowing. However, it is the belief of government that maybe the time has come for Ghanaians to effectively contribute to the development of the economy. After weeks of speculation, it has now been confirmed that the Majority Leader in Parliament, Osagyie Mensah-Bonsu, will present the budget come Friday, the 12th of March. What remains uncertain is if he will lead the post-budget interviews and debate in Parliament as well. Joy Business understands that several initiatives will be announced aimed at stimulating growth in all aspects of the economy. So expect a budget that will be targeted at full recovery of the economy post-COVID-19.
And joining us is Dr. Mark Esibe-Yeboah. He is the former chair of Parliament Finance Committee. Doctor, we're so grateful that you've joined us. So many developments happening, the key one being that of the State of the Nation's address. Friday, we're going to be expecting the budget statement. From your perspective, having to look at your vast experience and your depth in finance, where do you think we should place our energies going forward?
Okay, so today's address by the President, as you rightly stated, was on the state of the nation. And so that transcends just the economy. He spoke on health issues, agriculture, pretty much everything. But on Friday, we expect the presentation by the Majority Leader to focus on the economy. So that will be the national agenda. So we want to see government projections for revenue. As the President indicated, in 2020, revenue declined by about 13.5 billion. Expenditure, primarily because of COVID, also went up by about 11.8 billion, giving us a whole of over 25 billion.
So moving forward, even as the projections have been made, how do we ensure an inclusive growth?
If I may, why we got this 25 billion hole was because of COVID. Now I ask you, has the COVID gone away? So if COVID remains the way it has been, then I'm sorry, we might not see some of the growth numbers that are being projected. Vaccines are being rolled out. How many people are going to get a second shot, and how many Ghanaians are going to get the vaccine? So if we contain the pandemic, then we should start talking of the growth that we expect. So I'm concerned more about the rollout of the vaccine and then the containment of the COVID, because we were in that hole because of the COVID and the lack of vaccine. And so how the vaccines are rolled out and how we are able to contain the COVID will spare growth. So we should be concerned about those health matters. Now, for expenditure cuts, it's right in the ambit of the government decides where he wants to cut expenditure. But the revenue, I've heard about tax increases. I'm not so sure if there's the time to be increasing taxes, but we are in such a hole. Businesses have suffered. The taxes are not coming in as expected. Are we still going to burden the few businesses that are already paying taxes by increasing, say, VAT or petroleum levies or whatever it is? So these are we are in uncharted territory. We are not so sure about the way to go, and we still have to see how COVID containment and the rollout of the vaccines go.
Interesting. So now begs my question, how do we ensure that our growth is inclusive moving forward?
The president indicated that a number of people have lost their jobs. Some businesses have collapsed. We do not have an unemployment compensation scheme here. If indeed we want to push in the poor, the vulnerable, our women, the youth, and those who have lost jobs to be given some form of stipend to get by. Now, the agriculture sector has not suffered that much, and so we want to see more work in that sector, the planting for food and jobs, and one district, one factory, industrialization. When we put much effort in these areas, then the growth will transcend to all spheres of the economy, because for small-scale businesses, government has to be doing something to help them. I don't know how the cutback program has been successful, but for growth to be inclusive, you have to target small, medium-scale enterprises, women, the poor, the vulnerable.
All right. Dr. Makasibe, we're so grateful that you joined us. He's the past chairman of the Finance Committee in Parliament.